In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. Green Beret Realty. Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of False Starts. I'm your host, Chris Shipley, joined with my co-host, Bill Blank. We are broadcasting from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studio and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company and Green Beret Realty. Shout out to Andrew Downs, out of the hospital today, saw him today. Billy, how are you today?
Yeah, I've had a bad mental health week.
Yeah?
Yeah, blew the fucking game to your stupid clowns.
I think we made some adjustments and outplayed you in the second half.
Shut the fuck up. That game should have been over. You don't fucking first and goal from the 2 and you don't get any touch. Get the fuck
and why is that? Why is that?
Because we made stupid decisions.
Or maybe because the Iowa State defense is a stout defense and stacked your ass.
Oh, shut the fuck up. How'd we score the other times then? Shut up. The game should have been over. Period.
Yeah.
If it was the other way around, you'd be talking about how bad you fucking blew it. Don't give me that shit. I don't want to fucking hear it. Game should have been over. Should have been a goddamn shutout.
You brought it up. Just saying.
I know I brought it up.
Mad because Jalen Knoll beat Xavier Wampa like it was his stepkid on a post pattern.
He didn't beat anybody. It was a bad turn. He took a bad angle and fucking.
Because he's not very good.
It's not getting
beat. He's just not very good. I don't know what to tell you.
Now you're fucking.
I would just like to point out that I didn't troll you at all on Saturday. I sat in my little corner.
Nobody did. Nobody trolled me. I don't like when it's the other way around. I don't like kick people when they're down. Like I don't ever rub it in. Like later on. When it's over.
Right.
Whatever. Like I actually don't even really talk shit before the game.
You don't.
I'm one of those people that I just hate the game. Period.
Right. Yeah.
There's no joy in it for me. And that's what I hate. Like win or lose any other game on the schedule, I can find joy in it.
Right.
But like this game, win or lose, the joy is sucked out of it from start to finish. So like,
it's exhausting for the week leading up to it too.
yeah, like for me, and this is what I think casual kind of fans don't understand, and I know it's pathetic and whatever, but like for me, the reason that I hate the game, like, you know how there's people out there that'll say we shouldn't play the game.
Yes.
And like I get why they think that.
Right.
Like what Iowa State fans don't want to acknowledge or whatever is that like as a program, like historically, just as a program, Iowa is a superior program football wise. It's just the way it is.
Shows that.
Right?
I don't deny that.
Yeah. So when as a fan, when you expect to win, when you expect to be better than somebody and beat them every time you play them, when they beat you, it's devastating.
Yes.
Then when you beat them, it's just relief.
Right.
Like you just don't. So there's no joy in it from a fan perspective. Like
there's no joy in it for me. I mean, other when we win it, and then because to your point, I don't necessarily agree. I think that obviously you guys are a Big Ten team. I get all that. We though are capable of beating anybody.
Yeah, that's college football. I mean, look at Northern Illinois.
But my point is that I would rather get rid of the game just simply because I feel like we put so much stock into that game. It's a completely different version of football to play. The pundits have said over and over again, Matt Campbell plays tight in that game sometimes. Look at the first half.
Yeah.
I was afraid to make a mistake, played it close to the vest. We don't – I would much rather play loosey-goosey and just do that. I'd rather play somebody else that there's not so much emotional investment in.
Sure.
So, to me.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like, because, I mean, like last year, for example, at the end of the day, people are like, well, we were Iowa's best win. It was the best win on Iowa's schedule.
Right.
And now I can't wait. Like all the Iowa State fans that would talk about what a joke our schedule was and shit all year last year, even though we won the game. Like, I can't wait now this year for the Iowa fans that start talking about how shitty Iowa State's schedule is.
I know.
Like if Iowa State has a really good season,
right?
At the end of the year, how many Iowa fans fucking good? Yeah,
they play in the Big 12.
When they beat us, you can't say that.
Yep.
Don't be an idiot. That's just stupid, just from a logic perspective. Like you just look stupid. But as always, I can find a way that it's the ref's fault, and as usual, it was the ref's fault. So
there you go.
There you go. Called a couple holding penalties.
Just so you know, our next guest is going to be a referee, and we're going to talk about referees and the stress that they have and how they deal with that.
What after
in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm vetoing that shit.
Nope. All right.
Well, actually, yeah, we will have to discuss that because we might have Brad Williams in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, we can do it.
So we might have to like extend.
Yeah, we'll delay. Yeah, but
only if though. I won't know. He's in Europe right now, so I won't know until next week.
That works. All right.
But should we introduce our guest?
We should.
So I have some good history with a good backstory with this guest. We've actually been pretty good friends for, got to be 20 years at this point. It's weird to think about. This guy was my very first one-nighter road gig.
Okay.
And it was for this. I just remember him saying at one point we were in this room in Topeka, Kansas, and it sucked. It was just a shitty setup. Everything about it just sucked. I mean, it was okay. The show, it wasn't like we had a real shitty show or anything. It just wasn't real fun, And I was pretty young and pretty green, and I was kind of trying to. It was one of those shows. I hadn't had a show like that before. Like I didn't. I couldn't figure out how I felt about it. Like, was it my fault? What was the deal? And Gary, our next guest, Gary Lewis, said that room had no soul, and right away it just fucking clicked. Oh, that's what that is. And since that day, I've played many rooms with no soul and do exactly how to label it. So, with much love, I introduce my friend Gary Lewis. Hello, Gary. How are you, sir?
No, speaking of no soul, rather than sit here and listen to you bitch about a football game, I was watching the debate.
Yeah.
Oh, I got completely full of gas bag for a little while there.
See, that's what's funny about. Somebody made a great point to me recently when I was bitching about Donald Trump or something on Facebook, and somebody I was talking about how people are like fighting with people they've known their whole lives and shit over these people that don't know them, don't care about them really in any way, shape, or form. They'll probably never meet. And they follow them both sides like it's a fucking cult, And there was a guy that said, well, some people have, he goes, you have sports and some people have politics. And I was like, ooh, that's a really good point. I was like, that's a really good point. But the difference is sports don't influence life like laws, So I mean, it's a little different, but
and with that, in that spirit, man, those clones look good. Damn. In that second half, and that I was sitting here on my couch, Bill, just knowing that I was glad I wasn't at your house.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Where were you watching that game?
It was probably, yeah. You might have not liked me anymore.
Oh, I've been with you watching games, and and don't press that like me button too much.
Right. Yeah, you were with me when we got upset by somebody.
Oh,
I remember.
We were at some bar. We stopped in after a gig, and I was on my way home. We stopped to watch the game, and Jesus Christ, your head almost exploded. I mean, you told me you got really intense about those games, and
yeah,
I as like most things you said, I wasn't paying attention. Not paid attention after that fucking game, I'll tell you that.
I do better now, like when it's over. I shake it off quicker now than I did back in the day.
That's good. That helps.
Yeah. But I still in game am pretty fucking intense, pretty ridiculous. But that's just passion.
Yep.
I'm a passionate guy. I do everything I do with so much passion. We should get into those. See, Gary's got an interesting story right now. Gary's got the long COVID, which I don't think enough people really understand exactly what that is and what's really going on with that.
That includes me. That includes doctors. Nobody really understands what the hell it is. And that is the most frustrating thing about it. The people who think they understand what it is all thought the COVID virus was a hoax in the first place. And adding the adjective long to COVID just makes it a pill they can't swallow.
Well, and it's, I mean, you've had, I know, it wasn't the first, I mean, it wasn't your first time getting COVID this took on, right?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
I had during the lockdown, I had started I can't remember. I think it was Spencer Dobson. You know Spencer, don't you?
Vaguely, yeah.
But he challenged me to this push-up challenge that was supposedly to raise awareness for mental health. And I started watching other people's push-up challenges, and I was realizing that what the fuck is push-ups doing to raise awareness for mental health? So I actually started talking about it because we were all in lockdown and it was affecting people, and you could tell on social media how much mania was creeping in on people. And so I started doing little videos and called it Tea Time for the Socially Distant Soul, which is a play on Douglas Adams' Tea Time, a long dark tea time of the soul. And I started, pushing responsibility, masks and stuff like that. And just, taking care not to spread the damn virus. And I got it in August of 2022 at a festival to Sioux City legend Tommy Bolin. We have a Bolin festival every year, and I was vaccinated and all that, but I got careless, and I ended up getting COVID, and I wasn't really all that worried about it, but because I was never sick. I mean, I was always the healthy one in my family, and in fact, I only got one mump. I mean, when I was a kid, Mom wouldn't even let me stay home from school because she was like, "Fuck you, man! You only got one mump. You got one fucking mump."
Yeah, I didn't know there was such a thing as getting one.
Yeah, had to be me. I got one.
But you got the mumps, but like singular.
The dollar version of the mump.
So what the doctor say? How's the doctor? Did the doctor say you got mump?
I don't know. I remember that was the case, and I got no sympathy at home. No.
We can dive into that too. This is a mental health podcast, but let's get through the COVID before we talk about your mom not loving you.
She just doesn't like me. Kidding, Mom. I know you how to get on podcasts. I tested negative after about a week or so, and I just wasn't getting better. And then it was around this time in 2022 that I first came across the words long COVID. And that's when I started looking into it. I started I made my general practitioner I made him refer me to specialists. I'd heard about heart problems, family history of heart problems. My heart was functioning perfectly. Can you believe that? After all the crap I did to myself on the road, 40 years smoking cigarettes, drinking. Yeah, sure, I'll try that. Yeah, my heart was fucking perfect. My lungs are firing at 82%. The neurologist got to use his favorite joke. The neurologist's favorite joke is they put me in the scan thing, and when I came out, well, we didn't find anything.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, but and when I went back for a follow-up, the neurologist saw I've got all sorts of symptoms from it, but that's basically the backstory there. So it was 2 years ago when I first started putting long COVID into my repertoire.
And so is long COVID something doctors are diagnosing, or is it more of a...
That was just a question I was going to ask. Is that an actual diagnosis?
Yeah.
Because my doctor has used that term with me as well.
I think it depends on what doctor you get. I have a support group here online. I have a support group called Long COVID Sucks, SUX, and there's a young girl in there that her symptoms elevate her anxiety. Her heart starts palpitating real hard, blood rate racing, and she goes to the emergency room. And they basically give her there. That's just anxiety. Just go home and relax. And that's fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Because, heart palpitations and heart racing is one of the symptoms that some long COVID sufferers have. So some doctors my doctor is very open to it. He knows that it is, and that it is caused by long COVID. or it was caused by the COVID virus. I had a friend tell me it very early on in it when I was just really, really, really miserable with it, still kind of sick from the virus and all that. Tell me, well, it sucks getting old. And I told my doctor that, and he just, that's fine. He said, that's ridiculous. You didn't just get old overnight. And I was like, yeah, it felt like it on some of those road gigs, but fuck yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's funny you say that too, because I remember being like in my early 30s and just like already bitter a little bit.
You get a fucking taste of the business. You get a sandwich, several times, and yeah.
It's just funny because like at that time, by the time I was in my early 30s, I'd been around well over a decade, and so many guys that I was running around, like that I was running into around here and stuff, they were just starting. They were just doing open mics and stuff, guys that were my age. So it was like I was their dad. There were guys older than me, and so then I feel like I contributed to that. You know how like those like open micers and stuff will go through that thing where they think it's cool to hate comedy even though they're doing it, like talking about how fucking shitty it is. Like, oh, did you hang around with a few vets that said some shit and now you think in order for anybody to think you belong you have to hate it?
Or if they say anything about comedy, really, I mean, it pisses me off. Shut up.
But so how, and like, is that like the shortness, like you talk about your friend who it enhances her anxiety, like a shortness of breath will do that. If you're not breathing properly, you can't catch your breath.
Yep.
I don't know of anything that's more anxiety inducing than that, like a physical symptom.
With me, and I do have breathing difficulties, but I don't know. I don't think I notice it very much because I was, like I said, I was a 40-year smoker.
Yeah.
And I think I pretty much deserve my lungs to be fucking, now I ain't going to do that.
Right.
Today. But it's pronounced for other people. They hear it. They hear me struggling for air when I feel like I'm just kind of normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. My wife says the same thing to me too. I 3 years ago, before I got COVID for the first time, I was going to Farrell's kickboxing every day. And after I got COVID, and I think I have a little bit of long COVID as well. I can't, to this day, still take deep breaths. I can't walk up a flight of stairs without feeling that anxiety of like, I feel like I can't get a deep breath. And there'll be times I'll be doing something and my wife will be like, "Are you all right? Like you're breathing really heavy." But
yeah.
And it's to the point now where I barely want to go to the gym because I don't have the energy to do it. I was just telling Stacy tonight, I used to love going to the gym and working out, and now I dread it. I dread going. And I never used to be like that when I started the gym.
Yeah, I didn't like going to the gym because they wouldn't let me smoke, but I'm 4.5 years without smoking now, and the breathing is still a problem, and the energy level. I do what exercising I can here at home, but the lack of energy that's the number one. Everybody seems to have their own, lazy Susan of rotating symptoms. It's like a buffet of symptoms that, I have some of this and some of this and some of this. A family member who is in the medical field, she sent me a link to an article, basically on Facebook, saying how a town in Italy was like the epicenter of COVID for a while there, and I didn't catch the date, but it was 2020. And these doctors in this town were calling people who had survived COVID back in to have them tested. And I can't remember now what the actual, but this was in like September of 2020 or something like that. So we'd had COVID for a while, but these doctors started realizing then that there were residual symptoms of COVID, and it manifested itself. And basically, the way I said was the rotisserie of symptoms. So, and that kind of pissed me off today, because it's like it was 2022, and it was 2 or 3 weeks into COVID that I finally heard about long COVID, and they knew about it 2 years before. They knew that people were still suffering from it. So
They're just like ignoring it, hoping it'd go away.
I don't know. I mean, trust me on this. I get so much of the conspiracy theory shit thrown at me with it. People telling me, well, you shouldn't have taken the vax. You have vax injury, and I'm like, fuck off.
I've been vaccinated. I got the first 2 vaxes. I haven't gotten another one. But I haven't gotten COVID at all the entire time. I don't know if maybe I was just asymptomatic, or I know there are people out there that are pretty much immune.
Oh yeah, and they're the one.
I could be one of those people. I don't know. I never got I never tested positive for it, but I haven't ran around testing every time I got a sniffle either. So I've got allergies I've dealt with my whole life. I usually, a couple times a year, I have some kind of a whatever I just call a cold, when my sinuses are fucked and I'm coughing shit up, and last couple days goes away and I'm fine, There
are people in my support group that are medical field, and some that are just plain out smarter than me. Most are plain out. All of them are smarter than me. And one of them posted the other day that it's been proven that there is a genetic factor in the severity or lack of in the post-COVID crap.
Well, it seems like that would make sense with any disease.
It would,
or any virus, or shit. Look at drugs; they affect people differently. Your genetic makeup definitely has to have something to do with that.
Yeah.
That just makes perfect sense to me. So, do you think there's just people? So, when you bring up the conspiracies and all that stuff, it appears to me like your biggest symptom is just fatigue. Is that accurate or no?
Well, yeah, it's the biggest one, but along with the fatigue, I'll be honest with you, it's affected my cognitive abilities. As we continue talking, I'll start stuttering more. I'll start having trouble coming up with the right word, which that pisses me off.
Yeah.
That's a devastating thing that's happened to me since my DUIs.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've tried to incorporate long COVID into the sets that I've done recently, and I myself have found the humor in it, and it's helped me cope with it. But
right.
One gig, I was launching into this brand new bit that I'd written. I believed in it, and I knew it was going to work. All of my years of Or I even got to the punchline, some drunk yelled out,
knocked you off your rhythm.
Huh?
Knocked you off your rhythm.
Well, yeah, but by yelling out, "God damn it, quit blaming everything on COVID."
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, okay, now I know who I'm talking to.
Right.
And now I got to be careful because and then another set, lady, when I was trying to get to a punchline, lady yelled out, "Oh, boo-hoo, we all have problems." And it was like, there's
See, this is why, and these sets were in and around Sioux City, I assume.
Well, in our geographic region,
that's what
I don't want to call them out, but there's only been a handful of.
No, it's just that I always had crowds like that in that part of the state, in that corner of the world.
Don't make me because I'm living here. God damn it!
I know, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to like. I just remember only having a handful of shows that I enjoyed in the Sioux City area. Like I did a bunch of them, but I remember only just a handful of them being enjoyable.
The one
The
you
rest
did,
of them were just a paycheck.
the one you did for me at Vanguard.
That was a blast.
We had like 8 people in the crowd.
No, that one was a good crowd. That one was fun. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh no, Vanguard. Okay, yeah. I thought you were talking. What was that old? What was the rock venue?
The Eagles Club.
Was it? No, they had more than one.
No, you're talking. Used to be Chesterfield. Now it's the Marquee. Yeah.
The Chesterfields. They had 2, right? They had 2 locations. There's one in Sioux City and one near Sioux City.
One out in Nebraska and one
Yes, I did shows at both of them.
Yeah, I didn't get to do the other one because I'm not a real comedian. You know how many times I've heard, if you were any good, you wouldn't be here. And I was like, as soon as I get my license, we'll experiment with that idea.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I actually have always, that's always one of my ways that I would disarm a small crowd or a crowd in a one-nighter crowd somewhere is I would tell them out of the gate, like I do the arms folded fucking, well, if he was worth a shit, he wouldn't be here. Like, ooh. You know, and that would right away, it's like 8 Mile in them, you know, you're right away just going, oh, now what are you going to say? I said it for you.
Yep.
Now you can't say shit. So that one's gone. Now you're going to have to pay attention to me.
I tried to do that with the long COVID by saying that before we get started, and I got to let you know that I've got long COVID, and it's manifests itself in many ways. One of the symptoms, it'll make it seem like I'm drunk. I mean, I am, but it's because I've got.
Yeah. I get it's because the long COVID has knocked down my tolerance.
You see, this has been the craziest thing. You know, me and my fondness for a certain brown beverage, Jägermeister, or anything with liquor in it for all those years. I found out real quick, and this was a friend of mine and I went up to my hometown, Rock Rapids, Reese Vanderzee, by the way.
Why didn't we throw a jump ball to him in the end zone when he had a guy that was about 5'8" in front of him the whole game?
I'm not sold. Okay.
That drove me nuts.
But we went to a bar before the game, and I had a Jameson's on the rocks, and I'm not lying when I say that it made the symptoms go away.
Oh, really?
And I mean, it was. I mean, Chris Fonseca once said. Somebody told me I'm getting too drunk in my show. How can I get too drunk? What's going to happen? Am I going to stand up and talk normal?
Yeah. So Chris Fonseca has cerebral palsy and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so he talks with kind of a slur, you know, he's got cerebral palsy, which so like him doing that bit.
Did my room at the Eagles Club up here. But yeah, I ain't kidding. And it was dangerous because it was like I didn't get drunk. I just got all the symptoms went away. The hitch in my giddy up because I walk with a it's like a seizure almost. If I up too long, I have basically a seizure like this. But it made it all go away. And every time, and I think I saw that today, there was all 5 times that I drank alcohol, it just erased my symptoms, and I could drink and feel normal until all of a sudden I was drunk, you know. But it was real weird. So we between my doctor and my chiropractor, we thought, well, maybe that has something to do with the vessels in your brain, and we tried antihistamine.
Like thinning out the blood, maybe letting the blood flow better.
Yeah. So put me on an antihistamine for a while, and that had absolutely no effect whatsoever. And so you know, so I don't really drink anymore because it's just too dangerous.
Yeah, because it'll make you want to do it every day.
Right. You know.
I mean, talk about a commercial for alcoholism.
Right. Well, yeah.
Hey, you got long COVID? Come over here. You're
Shots?
Red Jack Daniels.
You're doing the wrong kind of shots, man.
You're not sick. You're drinking the wrong liquor, man. Come here. Sit out.
Poke yourself in the arm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just fucking go out with a bottle of Jameson and an EpiPen and just hope for the best.
Right. I used to do that with cigarettes. As soon as I start mainlining Marlboros, I'll worry about it. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's
My memory recall's bad. I'm sure I got it on video somewhere. Yes, on VHS.
you still got something to watch it on?
Yeah, I do. It's not hooked up right now.
Yeah, my brother, we were moving some stuff out of my parents' house, and my brother found his like 13-inch TV with a VHS hooked into it. We were watching his high school basketball fucking highlights. It was hilarious because there was a game when he was a junior in high school where they were playing Urbandale, and Urbandale was number 1 or 2. I think they were number 1 at the time. My brother played for Johnston, and Urbandale had Tyler McKinney, who went to Creighton, and I can't remember. I think he transferred somewhere else, maybe even Drake. But anyway, he was a big deal at Urbandale. He was like the guy at the time, and they beat him on a like Christian Laettner-esque play. There was like
Jumped on somebody's head.
there was like McKinney hit a layup with like 0.5 left on the clock, 0.5 of a second. And then Johnston threw it the length of the floor and hit a 3-pointer to win the game. And you could see me run down the bleachers and running out towards my brother on the floor. I'm like, what would I have been, like 23, 22 or 23? Fucking running down there. How you doing over there, Chris? You look like you're fucking not paying attention.
I told you, I'm letting you guys just do your thing.
Oh, because you want to watch the debate.
Nope, I'm listening.
Is it what you're doing? Are you just... I can see you. I can see you're not even looking at the screen.
I'm looking at you.
You lying sack of shit. I can see you. Did Kamala Harris say something really super awesome or what?
No, she's just she's goading him into every. He takes the bait every single time. Every single time. So
that's what I was hoping would happen.
Let's just dump the long COVID aspect. Turn our TVs up and just fucking mock the hell out of him. I can't. I mean, I'm afraid to do it on stage, man, because they get violent about it. They don't like it. I mean, and then
it's funny, you know. I had. Do you remember a guy or know a guy? He's an older comic. I just remember. I think he's from Ohio somewhere. His name's John Rathbone. I remember him coming through the Funny Bone. That's how I had met him. I think maybe 1 or 2 times. Like, he was a guy that lived around Columbus, and he'd get some dates, you know. Kind of like, I mean, he's kind of like me, more of a career opener type of guy, I think. But I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't know about that. But anyway, big Trump pansy, and I don't like, I don't unfriend people. I don't, it's whatever. Like, I'm sorry, liberals, but I know some Trump supporters that are really fucking nice people, and they are not going to cease to be really nice people in my eyes because they support Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I know that pisses you off because you love to be outraged, but it's not gonna. I'm sorry. It's just not. They're just some of the nicest people I know.
Who doesn't
fucking vote for that idiot?
Just angry. Everybody's fucking angry.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And so, like, he comes on. The thing about those people that are like those staunch, they're the ones that call people snowflakes, and the ones that make fun of things like safe spaces and are constantly talking about trans people and, those type of people. Those are the equivalent to me as the bullies at recess, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, like, when you're a guy who has the viewpoints that they want to label they want to throw that snowflake shit on you and call you a lib and all this stuff. Just if you think Donald Trump's an idiot, they want to tell you you're a libtard and a snowflake. Even like I don't like the liberals either. That's what they don't understand. And so, like, I say stuff like that, and then, I'm a lib, I'm a snowflake. Well, guess what else? I can be the bully at recess too. So they don't know how to respond. They turn into snowflakes really fast, just like the bully at recess does. When you react, like I can't remember what he said to me, but he was like very vague. Oh, he said, I put up a post that said, way to make when they missed him. And
in the assassination.
And so I put up a post that said, way to make a hero out of that idiot. I said, way to make a hero out of that fucking idiot, you fucking idiot.
I saw that.
Yeah. Which is in no way being supportive of anyone. I'm saying that you're such an idiot for making a hero out of an idiot. Like, I'm calling them both idiots. What's wrong with that? Right. So that's what I do. Right. And this guy comments on it and says, he goes, his reaction, Donald Trump's reaction to the shooting is what makes him a hero, just like your reaction makes you what you are. And so my answer to that was, get his dick out of your mouth. And he goes,
and he can still talk with his dick in his mouth.
Yeah, right. So I go, get his dick out of your mouth. And he says, oh, what, such a wordsmith or something, and so so well thought out, And I go, and so I said, oh, I'm sorry. Was that not passive aggressive and vague enough for you to think it was creative? Like, what? So what are you? Oh, that makes you what you are. Oh, I'm sorry. Because you weren't direct enough. I'm the one that isn't creative enough because I just flat out told you to get his dick out of your mouth. Because I guarantee whatever I said got the point across better.
Yeah.
But again, right away turns into a snowflake, like all of a sudden you're a victim. It's the definition of gaslighting.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And I think that term gets overused a lot. But in this case, or misused, really. But in this case, that's like exactly what it is to me. It's say some fucked up shit, and then somebody else hits you back, and then you play the victim.
The victim, and that's what's been. I have found one of the big components of the long COVID. Let's go back there, I guess. Is finding out who is willing to go out on social media in public and flat out call me a liar or tell me I need to quit whining and go get a job. I've had quite a few, and straight down the line, I can tell you who they're voting for.
Sure.
Straight down the line. And a couple of, how quickly it turned. I did mention that cognitively, I'm not as quick as I used to be. But
Chuck's getting old.
Yes. Shouldn't have smoked all that pot in the 80s.
You shouldn't have got all that wacky tobacco out of aluminum.
Them left-handed cigarettes done smoke. You smoke yourself stupid.
You know what? Garie's the one. I remember you are the one. We were talking one time about all the different things we made bongs out of, or like what we did. Like when you were poor and you were in a bind and you had nothing to smoke out of, and what you did. And I was telling you about, and this wasn't a poor person thing. This was more economical. I was telling you about smoking out of a green pepper because of the apple thing. And I was like, a green pepper's so much better. And I went through that whole thing. And I remember you saying, yeah, one time I smoked out of the earth. Dug a hole in the fucking ground, in a side of a hill. Genius. Fucking genius.
Yeah. Yep. I did.
So yeah, I can see how cognitively you might be suffering outside of long COVID.
Yeah, have you ripped a good bong? Have you ripped a good earth bong hit, man? That stuff's got gravitational pull.
It's organic, man. It's fucking organic gravitational pull, man.
It's farm to plate, man.
Farm to
plate.
Farm
to pipe.
Right? Who says you need the corn cob? Old corn cob pipe. Those were the worst. I remember grabbing one of those at a gas station or something, trying to smoke out of that thing. It fucking clogged up in 2 seconds.
Right. Or they just burn up.
Yeah, that was terrible. Better off with a green pepper, man. All day long. That's what I used to do, like back in the day. Like when I would, so I could fly with weed. I got a vacuum sealer, so I could fly with weed, and I'd vacuum seal everything, and then I would put it in my crotch, take it through the airport, and then wherever I landed, whatever town I was in, I would go to the grocery store and get a couple green peppers. And I would just smoke out of green peppers all week.
Spicy.
Well, they're perfect, dude. You gotta think. Chris, you're not gonna understand this, okay?
I don't understand. I'm literally going along for the ride on this whole discussion.
So there's a thing. People that have smoked pot or smoke pot, almost all of them have smoked out of an apple at some point. Like, it's kind of a thing. I don't know. Maybe some people consider it a rite of passage. I don't know. There's comics I know that do it all the time, and I've always pushed my green pepper propaganda onto them. But so basically, you take an apple and you core it out, right? So you core out the apple, and then you cut 2 holes. You poke 2 holes into the core on different sides.
Right.
One of them's for your mouth. One of them's a carburetor, right? Okay. So that's how you put the weed up in the top of the core, right? And so when you do that out of an apple, you know how an apple cooks, right? It reduces when it cooks.
Yes.
So like as you smoke out of that apple, that hole gets bigger and bigger. And eventually you start wasting a bunch of weed because the hole gets too big, right? Well, a green pepper is already hollow inside. So you don't have to core out a green pepper, right? Also, when you turn the green pepper upside down, the bell makes a perfect little spot for your weed. Perfect little bowl. Now, you don't even have to cut a hole. All you need is a toothpick, and you just poke a little hole right in the middle of the bell. So just air gets through there. And then you do your mouth hole and your carb hole in the sides of the green pepper, and boom. And green peppers don't reduce like apples do. So that hole never gets bigger, and you never waste weed. And you can smoke out of the same green pepper for like 2 days, and then you should get another one. 2
things I love. Never wasting weed and holes that stay the same size.
See?
All
I know is there are many comics I've told that to. Well, not just comics, just stoners in general that are like, that's fucking genius, man.
I'm looking it up right now.
There's nothing online about smoking out of a green pepper. I'm telling you that right now. But I bet there's things about an apple.
Crazy. Put down the pipe or put down.
6 years ago, there's a Reddit stream. Smoked out of a bell pepper this weekend. Safe to say, making it into a bong didn't disappoint.
I bet you whoever that is someone I taught it to that started a Reddit thread. Some roundabout way.
The real question is, was the smoke spicy? That's what somebody asked.
It's a fucking bell pepper. Bell peppers aren't spicy.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Well, I know, but see, that's why people are stupid. Like, just fucking think. Is a bell pepper spicy to anyone? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I have a palate like that. I like hot shit. Like, is a bell pepper spicy at all? It's not to me. Like, not even a little bit.
Well, it's really on the Scoville scale, man.
Or is it even on it?
I don't know. What the fuck? I don't study peppers.
I just wonder if there's people out there that think.
Trust me, man.
I just wonder if there's people out there that think green bell peppers are spicy. Does that exist in the world?
Look up the word spicy or Google spicy.
But I can
Definition of spicy. Get all freaked out by cinnamon. It's spicy, man.
Cinnamon's like a really good. It has like a lot of what medicinal qualities, doesn't it?
Yeah. Don't snort it though.
Here you go. Hot and spicy are definitely not the same thing. Spicy refers to the combination of an amount of spices that are put into a dish.
What the
So
fuck?
it does not equate hot.
Well,
Oh, okay. So they're being cunts, being fucking word police. So going, it's spicy because it has a bunch of spices in it. Boy, that's spicy. Lots of spice. What a crock of shit. Everybody in the fucking world that says spicy means it's hot. I mean, who do you know in the world that when they say spicy means that there's an abundance of spices in what they're eating?
me from now on.
Yeah, apparently. That's how you look refined. That's how you look. That's how you appear to be refined.
No, I don't know. I forgot what we were talking about.
Like every time somebody says something spicy from now on, you're gonna be like, "Well, that actually means."
Because I've decided that actually is the anti-comedy word.
The word actually?
Yes, it is the enemy of anything funny. Anytime anybody says actually, that means they're gonna shit on the joke.
That's hilarious. You're right.
Actually, panda bears aren't really bears.
Yeah.
Those douchebags.
That's so funny. Like, whenever you write a bit that you know you're taking some kind of liberty like that, and then in the back of your head, you're wondering how many people aren't laughing and saying it says, well, actually, like in their head, mathematically, that's not correct.
Yep.
Like, I remember talking about one time it was really cold in July. It was like in the 50s or something. And I was on stage that night and I was talking about global warming being bullshit because it was cold in July. I know that's not how global warming works. And there were people fucking arguing with me. And I'm just like, fuck. That's one of those when you want to do the old hack. This isn't the serious club.
Right.
Or something.
Tragedy club.
It's just going, where were you earlier? Before you walked in here to the comedy show.
I got told the other day that I shouldn't talk about my long COVID on stage because it's too serious. But
that's the whole fucking point.
It's our
Isn't
job.
that what comedy is? Isn't that what comedy is?
Yes. Taking liberties at times, stretching scenarios, whatever.
Yes.
And taking pain and turning it into healing.
They're telling you that because they don't have the balls to walk those lines. But I enjoy that. Like, I like breaking those rules. I at least like not necessarily breaking those rules. It's making people think you're about to. Like, you're about to. Like, I have this whole bit I've been doing lately about homeless people. And it's a huge risk because you're not supposed to punch down.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge within the bit, like, I'm totally I know I'm punching down. But hear me out. Go on the journey with me, right?
Us the ability to do that.
Yeah, 100%. And so
internet has played a big part of that.
that's why I love doing the bit, because I can tell that people, because the points I'm making in the bit are almost inarguable. Not necessarily inarguable like it's a social stance or anything, but like you have to go, like I distinctly remember doing the bit the other like a week or so ago, and a lady in the crowd just going, I mean, like, so like that's almost better than a laugh. It's this acknowledgement of, oh well, I mean, he's right. Like, yeah, this is mean and all, but you know. So like I love that. That's the most fun I have on stage, when I can make you think I just like walking the line without falling off of it. Just that's my favorite thing to do.
It was, yeah, I totally get that. My new thing now is that I'm kind of reinventing myself on stage every time I grab a mic.
Yeah.
Finding out, well, it's about time. It's about time I reinvented myself. I've been doing the same joke since my first open mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to figure out my new parameters with my disability. And it is that,
Sure.
I've been taking a lot of shit about that because I'm trying to get a supplemental security income, but it's getting up there. And where can I take this? I don't know if that come out right.
No, I know what you mean. Like it's different. I mean, we've all written bits in different ways over the years. There's those bits where you think of the punchline first.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to get to it. And those are the easiest ones.
That, and then you forget about it forever.
Right. But that's the easiest, is when that punch, the punch that the line that is gonna be the line. What the fuck is that? Is that you? Did you turn your phone? Are you using your phone?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. This is another symptom of long COVID.
You go sideways on.
I have no idea. I lean back.
You're like a fucking vampire with no reflection. He's tired. He needs to lay down. I don't know.
I can't fix that. I have no idea.
I don't know. You have to move your phone or something. Play with your phone. Oh, it almost looked like there. Yeah, there it went.
So that's the equivalent of tapping on it.
There you go.
Apparently.
Moving the rabbit ears.
Now I forgot where I was going.
Good.
Oh, the punchline. So, like, when you think of that line first, like, there's like I have a line that's like, cars are like women. You can say whatever you want when they're not around, but you gotta be really careful what you say when you're inside them. Which I said to a friend of mine one day when I was driving a shitty car and we were going up a hill, and I was starting to cuss out the car. And then I stopped and was like, no, it's okay, baby, because I wanted it to make it up the hill. And so, like, that line, when I said that, my friend in the car with me was like, if you don't write that down, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, it cracked him up, right? So, boom, I know that joke works. I just had to figure out how to get that line out. How do I tell the story to get that line out? And those are the easiest bits to write. The hard ones are the ones where the hardest ones are the ones you believe in the most, that you want to make a point. Like, you want to have a point of view on this thing. And those are the hardest ones to write.
And they're the hardest ones to sell, because
absolutely
anymore, it's just everything's so fucking contentious. I mean, yeah, just look on social media. I could post that I ate tilapia tonight, and somebody will say, well, you shouldn't eat that kind of fish. That kind of fish is communist, or what the fuck.
Right. Yeah, they're farmed or manufactured with no eyeballs.
Most dangerous thing to do in the world right now is to have a point of view.
But has that not always been the case in some way, shape, or form? I mean, now everybody seems to have their own press conference all the time, but like at the same time, I mean, look back at like when Michael Jordan was getting shit for not saying certain things or speaking out about certain things, and he was like, "Well, white people buy shoes too." You know, like that was the '80s when he said that.
And I don't even remember that, really.
I just know these things have been going on forever,
Yeah.
and
But
there's a part of me that buys into if there was going to be something conspiratory about it, like that the division, people are profiting off of this division.
yeah.
On
Yes.
both ends of the spectrum.
And I guess my real problem with it is not so much that it hasn't existed. It's just that now that it's so easy to express it. It's so easy to start an argument over any fucking thing. Because I'll be honest with you, Facebook became my life. I during the lockdown and then during my illness, I spend most of my time at home, and I'm on Facebook a lot. That's how I communicate. That's how Facebook was my comedy club. Is where I put. It was everything, and I mean, I could years ago I could do a Ronald Reagan impression in Lima, Ohio, and everybody'd forget about it the next day. Yeah. Now I do a Trump impression, and it's somebody got it on video. Now it's on TikTok, and every Trump supporter in the country is out for Gare Bear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had.
Yeah,
I remember back in the day, I had a lady record me when I called Hillary Clinton a cunt. This lady started recording me, and I was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" Like,
right?
I go, "What's gonna happen next? Nobody cares who I am at all." Like, if the day ever came where I could get canceled, then I would be rich enough to not give a fuck. It's kind of the way I look at it.
All right. We're having a glitch in the system.
Uh-oh.
You just went off.
Yeah, did you not hear me?
No, I didn't.
Well, I was just saying that if I were ever famous enough to actually be canceled, I'd have enough money to not give a fuck that I got canceled. So like,
right.
Why should I?
Jokes on them. You don't give a fuck now, Bill.
Well, I mean, that's the reason that I don't give a fuck, though, because I'm not famous enough to get canceled. So if I were famous enough to get canceled, I still wouldn't give a fuck because I'd have enough money to disappear.
I get it. I got canceled a long time ago.
No, and I had a buddy kind of talking to me about some of the shit I put on social media and stuff and being polarizing and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, anything I post is fucking harmless. And if it was going to affect me some way monetarily or business wise, like it would be such a minute number. It'd be such a small fraction. Like,
right.
There'd be like 5 people that would stop talking to me or something. Top. Like it just wouldn't affect anything.
I got advised when I was running for the board of supervisors up here. Somebody said that I needed to go through my Facebook and what'd she say, scrub it. I needed to scrub Facebook, and I went back and I scrolled back as far as I could possibly stomach, and it was like, I don't say anything that I don't mean.
Yeah.
I don't say anything that I can't back up. So if you're not going to vote for me because I made a post on Facebook about something, then you probably weren't going to vote for me to begin with.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way, because I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, that's 100%. Like, I don't, like if somebody's such a Trump pansy that I say something about him and that makes them not like me anymore, just as a human being, I don't really feel like that's a person I really care to be around anyway. Like, that's crazy to me. And vice versa. If I made fun of Kamala Harris and somebody all of a sudden didn't want to like me anymore because of that, like, sorry, you take yourself way too seriously for me to be able to hang around you anyway.
And
It
that
slays me that we're in a time and period now where making fun of a politician will lose you friendships.
Yeah.
Like before, that was totally fine. Like, regardless of who you voted for, if you voted for George Bush, you still knew he was a fucking idiot and couldn't string two sentences together. It was funny.
you
Yeah.
see, it was during Bush that I started, when I first started seeing that it was getting a little bit too serious. I was somewhere in Nebraska, small town in Nebraska, and I did a joke about Bush. I don't even remember what it was now, but it was about him being an idiot, which I thought was common knowledge. But from the back of the room, you hear that I heard this guy, "Hey, you can't make fun of our president. We're at war."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, yeah." And I remember saying that we were, we were at war during Clinton. We've always been at war.
Right.
We're always in a conflict. That's one of the Trump pansies' favorite thing. Okay, we never had a conflict when Trump was in office.
Right. He told me I wasn't a patriot, and it was really serious. It was a really tense moment. If I felt at that moment that if I had pushed it,
sure,
it would have gotten ugly, because he started that way anyway. And that was after that was when Bush was president. So I'd been comic for a long damn time. But I in my opinion, the political correctness, I started noticing it as far as comedy goes. I started noticing that during the Clinton administration is when all of a sudden there were so many things we can't talk about, and that was liberals that really manifested that, and that made it really hard for me because I just didn't, I did what I did, and I do what I do when I take that. But that's when it all started in my experience.
Well, and I think about George Carlin a lot, because back then he was going after. I mean, he went after whoever was in charge. Didn't matter. But you put it in the context of the time. He's going after the Clinton administration. He's going after liberals. He was making fun of how sensitive people were about words and this, that, and the other thing. I think about him a lot because I feel like both sides of the fence, Republicans and Democrats, will use his bits to make their points.
Yes. Yes.
It cracks me up because he just was inevitably right about almost everything he ever fucking said. Like I think he was the closest thing to a leader we should have really had. I really felt like George Carlin had everything figured out.
He just had common sense.
Yeah.
And the ones that claim him for their side or the other side have no idea who he really was.
No, they just take the bit itself and think that it makes serves their purpose.
Yep.
I wish time with Lenny Bruce.
I agree. When it's funny because I came in probably 10 years after you had been. What was your first year? Your first time really on stage?
I was a month out of Army basic training. By the way.
And what year? What year was that?
83.
83. That was your first time on stage?
Yeah.
Okay, so 17 years before I ever went on stage.
Yeah, I was 6. Whatever. Anyway, I wanted to say that Green Beret. There's a Green Beret. Is it Realty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, yes. Flashback. I was about that. I was one step away from being a Green Beret when I was in basic training. But I didn't take that step. But my foot wanted to.
You didn't want to be one of America's best?
No, I just realized at that moment what a stupid thing that would be to do, and how we had just been basically flim-flammed by the Army. We'd been propagandized by our superiors, and I was like, "Fuck no, I don't." I just realized I was getting a little too carried away.
This is where I stop, guys. This is where I get off the train.
You're standing in formation.
I just need my GI Bill. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I got fucked out of that. You want to talk about that? That's affected my mental health. I'll tell you that. Yeah, but when you're in basic training and they tell you you're getting a special day for the 4th of July, it's going to be a fun day, and they take you over to a theater across the street from your barracks, and you watch a movie, and then you come back all fired up because Rambo blew the shit out of stuff, and ain't it fucking great, we're soldiers, and you're standing in formation, and then some Green Beret gets up there and starts telling you about how great it is to be a Green Beret, and you're thinking, man, I loved those John Wayne movies, and I want, no, I don't. Fuck off. Shut up. Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that you had that revelation. What do you think would have ultimately happened had you been a Green Beret? How do you think your life would have changed?
I would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a good soldier, believe it or not, in my own way. Even in basic training, there were some cadets that were attached to our platoon that one of them took a big interest in me and wanted me to consider going to West Point, and they were always after me to go. They wanted me to settle down and take it seriously and either go to officer candidate school or become a sergeant, go to whatever that fucking school was.
What year did you join?
80. Let's see. I joined in the summer of, I joined in the summer of 82. They told me I wasn't a soldier until I went to basic training, but I had to go to, I believe it was 6 drills. And then when I got to my first drill, I was talking to a kid that had signed up around the same time as me. He got the Montgomery GI Bill. I didn't, because the recruiter didn't tell me if I waited a couple weeks, I'd be eligible for the GI Bill. So I was a good soldier in as much as I just wanted to get through it without any trouble and have this fuck you attitude about it the whole time.
So it was like, it was one of those deals where they're like, if you just apply yourself.
We got a new XO in our platoon here in Sioux City. That's the lieutenant in charge of our platoon, and we got off on a wrong foot for one thing. He pulled me into a conference room one time, just him and me, and said something about, I don't know if you've ever been a boss or a leader, Lewis, but when you're a leader, you got to look at your platoon as your apple. And when you have your apple, and if the core starts to go bad, you got to cut that core out. And I just remember looking at him going, sir, are you telling me I'm the core of your apple? Because my platoon and me just fucked around a lot, and I liked it that way. And he said, yep, I was the core of his apple, and he demoted me from Spec 4 to private.
And so at any point did you Army training, sir?
I don't think, I suppose, but I can't remember if I saw Stripes before or after I joined. I don't even remember when that movie came out.
I think it was 83. I think it might have been
82 or 83, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that I saw Ghostbusters when I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, just because of Bill Murray.
Stripes came in at 81.
Ooh.
So yeah, I did see that before I went in, but you know what? I never got close to a Winnebago in basic training.
Is that all you did was go through basic training?
Basic training and then job training, which is called AIT, and then my years at the Guard here in Super City.
What was your job?
31 Victor 10. I was told by my recruiter I wanted to be in radio at the time. Yeah, I wanted to be a DJ, and he told me that was a perfect job for somebody that wanted to get into radio. And I found out at basic training that not only would I not be anywhere close to a radio studio, or the only broadcasting I would be doing would be on the front lines with a radio strapped to my back next to a lieutenant who was the second person to get killed. And the
Yeah, after you.
after me.
Yeah. So you're the guy who's like calling in coordinates and then getting hit by friendly fire.
Right?
Yeah.
That was me. Yeah, they told me that on a training course one day where they were telling us the life expectancy of our MOSs, and I was like right up there as the guy that was going to get shot first.
What's MOS?
Job.
What's that stand for, though?
Very O word, S word.
That's one of my favorite things. That's one of those things the military does that I fucking hate, because corporations do it too. They try to they make all these initialisms and acronyms, and then they come out into the real world and talk in them, like, hey, what's the SOP on that? Like, what the fuck does SOP mean? Oh, standard operating procedure. How about you just say standard operating procedure?
I started a job a few years ago, and every time we'd be in a meeting, they'd start off by, "We're just going to go over this in a high level environment." That was like the buzzwords, high level. We'll just look at it from a high level. How about you just tell me what the fuck's going on so I can move on and do my fucking job?
I like looking at things from a high level.
Me and you both.
Yeah, buddy. Fucking show.
Well,
right.
we pretty much do an hour and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, we got to get going.
Point.
So.
Yeah, is the debate over?
No. Still smiling and Trump.
I turned it off, by the way. So. As soon as you called me out,
he's fucking gotten fucking ridden hard and put away wet. That's what I love about. That's one of the similarities with sports and politics is like. Both sides are always. I liken it to the boxer when it's a split decision and they both go to their corner acting like they won the fight. You know, like, like the judges are gonna fucking score differently because you acted like you won. That's what always kills me. Like, well, this guy went to the corner more confidently. That's worth 2 more points for sure.
I think where the comparison goes wrong is that there are people who basically pick their sports teams by the color of the uniform they wear, and that doesn't necessarily translate in politics,
No, but they do pick blue or red.
Right, that's what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
I mean,
see, Chris understood what the fuck I was saying.
Oh, yeah, it was sarcasm. I apologize.
Actually, you look at they're always going to wear a red tie on one side.
Yeah.
Surprised Kamala doesn't. Does she have a tie on?
No, she's wearing a black suit.
A black pantsuit, I'm sure. Yep. I'm assuming.
I like she's looking calm, cool, and collected, and like she's enjoying this. And
she should have went out there.
Yeah, she's a fucking trial lawyer, dude.
I know.
Like,
she's a prosecutor, dude.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
She's a fucking lawyer. He doesn't stand a chance on a debate stage with her. I can't believe it's a no-win for him, because if he doesn't do the debate, then you're accepting defeat, basically. And doing the debate, he's getting thrown to the dogs because he doesn't stand a chance.
On that by the muting of the microphone. That was the worst. That was the best thing that could have happened for him. And that's not being able to hear a damn word they're saying, but he's his own worst enemy with that microphone on.
That's true.
Because he couldn't control himself. He just can't. And he never has been able to. I've watched that fucker since, oh God, I think the first time I ever saw him on anything, I was about 18 years old. And I realized that he was a bad person because all the people in my life that were adults teaching me what a bad person was taught me that a fucker like that was a bad person.
Yeah. Well, and also, like,
and he's great.
I was thinking about when you were talking about going and watching that movie, having to watch that movie.
Rambo?
in basic, and then you guys come out all pumped up and they try to get you to be a Green Beret or whatever after that. Like, it goes back to what I was talking about before. I think with John Miller, we were talking about politics and how it's all fucking propaganda, just like Hitler did, and everybody tries to act like that's not what's going on, and they'll try to compare what they always call somebody Hitler, and it's like, no, you guys are both Hitler because you follow the same exact outline to get elected. Hitler laid the groundwork for how to get elected.
Yeah.
And they all copy it. Nobody acknowledges it. But go just YouTube German propaganda films.
Give the idiots what they want.
Yeah. Just if you YouTube German propaganda films or Nazi propaganda films and watch them, it looks 100% a carbon copy of like post 9/11 stuff. Google
them. I was there.
Like if the post 9/11 things where everybody's, hanging the signs, they like, I remember distinctly watching a Nazi propaganda film after what was it? That first major bombing, like Berlin, maybe, or something.
Right.
And they're showing footage of people going through the streets, and like, there's all these, I remember there's one sheet, it's obviously in German, but the translation's at the bottom, and you can break our buildings, but not our hearts. And, shit like that all through the streets. And I'm like, this looks exactly the same as when they started politicizing 9/11 in order to, use that for whatever advantage they could, like politicians do, and so on and so forth. And you can
they can control us.
It's just a carbon copy of everything. And what really gets on my nerves is when I say that they're both the same, I don't mean that in the literal sense. And so people will argue with me like, no, this party, they're not the same. This party, this party, that. And it's like, yes, but they are in the end. The end game is the same. They all take money from the same donors.
It's a good cop, bad cop situation, and it's up to each individual to decide who's the good cop and who's the bad cop, and that's not a recipe for government to me.
Yeah, except for the fact that
both of our microphones would be cut, and the lights would be off by now.
Right. Except for the fact that in the good cop, bad cop situation, they're both playing a role that they know they're playing.
Yeah.
So the bad cops being the bad cop on purpose and the good cops being the good cop on purpose. In this situation, they're both bad cops trying to convince you they're the good cop.
Although there are those that'll say that is all orchestrated, and that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump probably eat bonbons together while they're putting together their.
I mean, like pro wrestling. And I don't think that's the case with Donald Trump. I think that's the case previous to him, though.
Oh, yeah. I was thoroughly convinced that they were in cahoots in 2016.
Him and Hillary?
Yes. Leading into it, I thoroughly believed that they ran and the fix was in for Hillary, and they figured I'll win the nomination and be an absolute disaster and she'll win by a landslide. And he woke up the next morning and was like, holy fuck, I won.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. That's plausible.
I think
good word.
It's probably too late to even fucking do anything or say anything, but it feels like every time Garie talks while one of us is talking, he gets muted. Is there a setting or something that's making that happen?
I think it's his mic because he was having trouble earlier.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So
I just wanted to, it's probably too late to address it anyway. It's been happening the whole show, but
enjoyed it. Just say you enjoyed it and get it over with. I mean,
well, it's actually, I wish I had more conversations with you like this, where every time I talked, you had to shut the fuck up. But
and jackass, god damn it!
I know, I heard you, I did. But again, you have to fucking spell it out to some people.
You have to admit, a lot more. I'm a lot more muted than I used to be.
Right. Well, that same thing when I posted that. Say what?
I said, thank you, long COVID.
Right. Yeah, well, see that same post. I remember that same post with where Rathbone said that shit to me. Drew Hastings told me I was about the most worthless cunt on Facebook.
I remember that name too.
Yeah, he was a big Bob and Tom guy back in the day. I liked him. I've always liked him. And I just said, thanks, buddy, with a big smiley face. I didn't. It's just funny. It kills me, man. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's, to kind of go circle here, you said something earlier about you don't unfriend people over disagreements like that. The only time I'll block somebody is I've made it real clear, if you can't disagree with me and do it civilly,
Yeah.
you're gone. I don't need it anymore.
That's my crossing too. Is once they become personal, and once it becomes a personal attack or a personal attack about, I had a family member that made comments about my son and things like that. At that point, we're done. Like we're done. I don't need that in my life or whatever else. So
it's like hecklers. It's like we have to police.
Right.
The comment section just gives rise to hecklers, and people say that I'm a dictator on my page. You're fucking right.
Yeah.
If somebody says something to me like, Bill, you could say something to me that I get that would piss somebody else off. Now they're going to start an argument with you in the comments. Now I've got to see that and to get the notification for that, and then I have to deal with that all fucking day and into the next day.
Yeah. Well,
sit down.
When people hijack your page, more or less, they hijack your post. Yeah, but
that affects.
See, I like to just. I won't unfriend them. Like during that process, like what I do a lot is I do a lot of unfollowing.
Oh yeah.
I do a lot of that where I don't really unfriend them, but I don't have to see any of their bullshit anymore. But if somebody comes on and we have discourse and like, I actually don't give a shit if they're not civil. I'll just come back at them and not. I'm saying dish it out, but take it too.
I'm tired.
And that's okay. But my point is, I'm gonna make you unfriend me. I'm not gonna unfriend you.
I've succeeded at that too.
You know what I mean? Because once they unfriend me, now I've won.
Yep.
Hecklers. If I unfriend them, it's like I'm the one that can't take it.
They're hecklers, dude.
Yeah.
And I came to the realization a long time ago. I mean, this is no different than dealing with a heckler.
Yeah. Well, I had a dude coming after me during that whole Trump post that used to be a sheriff. And he got fired for fucking gambling while he was in uniform. He was walking around Prairie Meadows in uniform, working security and playing slot machines and shit.
Oh, wow.
And he got fired, right? After he got fired, he was begging people for money. He gambled away, lost everything, basically, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know 100% of the details of everything, but I think he was married with kids, had a house, all that stuff, and lost all of it. Lost his marriage, lost everything. I mean, I think he's doing okay. Been trying to, but I distinctly know for a fact, I had other friends, other mutual people tell me this, that he like reached out to them, making up stories, trying to get them to give him money, basically because he just gambled away a bunch of money and was trying to find a way to, recoup or whatever. So I knew all this about him, right? And so he comes on arguing with me about this Trump shit and starts getting personal, like starts personally insulting me. And so I said at one point, I just said like, okay, if you want to, I was like, I haven't insulted you one time. Like you keep personally insulting me over this. I'm like, I'd give you I don't do that because I don't want to lose a friend I've had my whole life just because of this douchebag or whatever. And I'm like, if you really want to continue to get personal like that, I could fucking destroy you. I could completely fucking destroy you in this argument. And you know it. So, like, what are you doing, right? Shortly after that, he unfriended me.
Ended her
Like,
block.
oh, I better unfriend him before he destroys me. So it's like, I'll tell all these people all that shit. And I actually said, what I said was, if you think real hard for about 30 seconds, I think you'll know that's true.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really, it's not so uncivil to me, but like I said, when it comes down to somebody we both know has blocked me, insulted an old lady. I mean, really awful. Insulted an old lady, and I was like, nah, this shit's got to stop. So I started being the sheriff on my page, you know.
Yeah. Now all I can think about is who that was.
Yeah.
You can talk about it off air.
Am I still friends with him?
Are we done? I don't know. That's why I stopped talking.
All right, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, we gotta stop anyway. You can tell me once we get off.
There you go.
Thanks
everybody for listening to the.
Yeah, so don't X out, Gary. Stay on when we get off.
That's right.
Peace. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Gary, for coming on. Billy, good as always.
Yes,
make
sir.
sure you subscribe, hit the like button, give us a rating. That helps us. Billy, we find out if we win an award this Sunday.
Yeah.
The awards dinner is Sunday night. I'm going to go. Stacy and I are going to go. We'll represent Three Beards Media. So,
Yeah, that would be great. And I've got so much shit. There's just no way I can pull it off.
It ends at 10 o'clock, and I'll be in Cedar Rapids. I won't be home until after midnight. So
100%. Like if it was here, if it was in town, I'd definitely be
right for sure. So, and then your kid wrestles on Saturday night. We're all going in a big group. So that's go watch Jackson King. We got to get our Burger King hats, and so I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. I still can't believe
you wrestled the Boogeyman.
Yeah, well, the Boogeyman came out and fucking put it. He actually he interfered in his match, basically. Or his match was over. But my son is like, he's a heel when he goes and does that Bridge City Slam event or whatever. He's like, for the last couple of years, he's just been this huge heel where he just shows up talking a bunch of shit and makes everybody hate him like a lot. And so he gets beat. And the crowd goes crazy because they all hate him so much. And so then after he gets beat, to make it even worse, the basically grand finale is here comes the Boogeyman, put worms in his mouth and shit. So it's really satisfying for all the people that are mad at him, you know?
It's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't know the Boogeyman. I haven't watched wrestling for a while.
Oh, that guy's like from the mid 90s, I think. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, no, he was the 2000s, early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's not horribly off of mid 90s. I think he's probably around.
You know, he lived in Denver in some apartments called Tava Waters because I used to work for the management company, and it was well known that he lived there. And he gave fitness classes in the fitness center there. And we would make flyers that you could go get trained by the Boogeyman. I swear to God,
crazy. And he looks amazing. He's 60 years old. He looks amazing.
Yeah, he's stacked.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here. We're going to close up. Thanks to our sponsors, Revelton Distilling Company, Greenberry Realty, and Andrew Downs at AKC Marketing. Everybody have a great night.
Yeah.